All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're not just looking at an exam. Nope, we're taking on a challenge, a secret mission, if you will. Our target, the B2 listening exam. And our objective is simple, total mastery.
So let me ask you something. Do you think the B2 listening exam is just, well, about listening? You pop on your headphones, you hear the words, you tick a few boxes, and you're done?
If that's what you think, you gotta think again. It's not a passive thing at all. It's an active one. It really is a mission. And your job, should you choose to accept it, is to become a code cracker of spoken English. So what is this B2 listening mission? Well, your main objective isn't just to hear the words. It's about thinking on your feet, anticipating what's coming next, and reacting fast. You've got to decode different accents, different speeds, different contexts, and this is the big one, you have to anticipate the clever traps they've designed just to catch you out. No good agent goes into a mission blind. You need intelligence on the operational area first. So let's get familiar with the battlefield. Let's talk about the rules of engagement.
Here's the briefing. You're looking at 4 distinct parts, 30 questions in total, all crammed into about 40 minutes. This thing is a sprint, not a marathon, and trust me, every single second is going to count.
And here it is. This is the single most critical piece of intel you're going to get. The one rule that changes everything. You get to hear each audio exactly once. That's it. One. Single shot. There are no repeats. There are no second chances. The pressure is on from the second it starts. But hey, you're not going in unprepared. Not a chance. You're going in with a plan. This is your tactical playbook. We're about to break down the specific moves and strategies you need to outsmart this exam, part by part. Okay, first up, tactic number 1, diffusing the multiple choice traps. This is all about part 1, which is made up of 8 short, separate conversations, and each one has a multiple choice question.
Your plan here is a 3-step attack, and it's absolutely crucial. Step 1. Always, and I mean always, read the question and the options before the audio starts. You have to know what you're listening for. Step 2. As you read, underline the keywords, focus your brain. And step 3, and this is so important, listen for the emotion, for the attitude. Is the person speaking surprised? Are they annoyed, sarcastic? The real answer is often in the tone, not just the words.
And here's your first piece of top secret intel. The people who make the exam, they love this trick. If you hear a word from an answer option really early on in the conversation, but then the speaker clarifies or says but or changes their mind, it's almost always a trap. They're testing to see if you listen to the whole thing, not just the first few seconds. All right, let's move on. Tactic number 2 is what I call securing the intel drop. This is for part 2, where you listen to one person speaking for a few minutes and you have to fill in 10 gaps in some sentences. The strategy here is super methodical. First, use that quiet time before the audio starts to read the sentences and predict what kind of word is missing. Is it a person's name, a verb, a number? This gets your brain ready. Second, and this is good news, the answers show up in the same order as the gaps, so just follow along. And third, your only job here is to be a perfect scribe. Write down the exact word or short phrase you hear. Do not try to rephrase it. Okay, on to tactic number 3, decoding the conversation. Part 3 is usually a longer interview or a discussion with a few speakers, and it's got multiple choice questions. The real challenge here is tracking who says what, and more importantly, what they really mean. Now, listen closely to this piece of intel. You have to listen for the pauses. Pay attention when a speaker hesitates, with an or an or when they correct themselves and say something like, well, actually, or they seem to change their mind. That little moment of self-correction, it's often a giant flashing sign pointing you right to the correct answer. And now for our final part-specific tactic. Number 4, match the speaker to the statement. This is for part 4. Here, you'll listen to 5 short monologues, all on the same topic. Your job is to match each of those 5 speakers to one of 8 statements. It's a classic process of elimination. Now, here's the secret. The answers in this part are almost never direct. They're subtle. They're hidden behind specific phrases that signal a person's real opinion. You need to train your ear to catch things like, "At first, I wasn't sure," or "Looking back, I think," or a personal favorite, "What surprised me was." These are the keys that unlock what the speaker truly feels.
Okay, so you've got the tactics for each part. That's great. But if you want to go from just passing to absolutely dominating this thing, you need some pro-level ninja moves. These are the techniques that work across the entire exam.
First up, you have to, and I mean have to, crack the paraphrase code. The question will almost never use the exact same words you heard in the audio. They're testing your understanding of the meaning, not just your memory. So if you hear someone say, "He's exhausted," the correct answer will say something like, "He's really tired." You hear, "They turned it down," the option says, "They refused it." You've got to connect the ideas, not just match the words.
And here's your advanced mission checklist. 1. Predict the context. Before you hear a single word, think about what the topic might be. 2. Get really familiar with oral connectors like, "well," "so," and "actually." They're like turn signals in a conversation. 3. Recognize phrases that basically scream key information coming, like "the main reason is." 4. Learn to hear those intentional distractions and just ignore them. And 5, this is the golden rule. If you miss a question, you have to let it go instantly. Don't let one lost point make you lose the next one, too.
You know, all these strategies, all these ninja moves, they all point to one single powerful idea. This is the final piece of the puzzle. It's what I call the detective's mindset, and it is, without a doubt, the single most important rule for this entire mission.
And it's this. Just let this sink in for a second. Prepare like a detective, not a translator. So what does that actually mean?
Well, think about it. A translator, they just hear words and try to convert them from one language to another. It's kind of passive. But a detective is on a case. They are actively hunting for meaning. They're listening for intent, for irony, for emotion, for all the hidden clues that live between the lines. They're not just hearing, they're decoding the entire situation. So in the end, it all comes down to a choice that's completely yours. On exam day, when that audio starts playing, who are you going to be? The passive translator hoping to catch the right words? Or are you going to be the active, engaged detective ready to crack the case? The mission is yours.